I'm the Irish guy, and this is the Prem Catch-Up. Let's see what happened in the Premier League this weekend. And oh boy! Right, let's go. Brighton 2, Wolves 2. Oh, wow. Can someone please check on Matt Wiefer, who I guarantee, as we speak, this 24-year-old Dutch international midfielder is surely slapping himself in the face with the Cocoa Pops box. He is going to have another week from hell. Because sure, okay, Brighton came up against a hopeless Wolves, a team enduring one of the worst runs in Premier League history, and Danny Welbeck gives the Seagulls the lead. I'm confused. When this man was sprawled out on the St. James's Park turf for 10 minutes last week, the guy at the entire stadium applauded him off the pitch as he left on a stretcher. He was down on the ground and being given actual oxygen. I'll be honest, part of me was worried that Welbeck was dead. Or at the very least, I assumed with all the fuss being made that this injury-prone bloke could now be out for the season with a shattered back. The way everyone was worriedly fussing over him, you'd swear a vampire had just bitten off a chunk of his neck. So when I heard the radio telling me that Welbeck had scored against Wolves, I was just like, what? I wasn't expecting this plot twist. It's like if someone had just spotted Meatloaf eating Skittles in a Portsmouth bus station. I thought he was dead. Well, look, Welbeck clinically finished, but now there's people screaming for him to be shoved in the England squad. Even the commentators on Match of the Day were saying that he should be recalled after 6 years away. No! Lads, putting Welbeck into Thomas Tuchel's first England squad wouldn't exactly be a revolutionary thought. I mean, this isn't like when Angel Gomez came out of nowhere to make his England debut. Because Welbeck wasn't exactly completely ignored by Southgate. Don't forget, he was named in his 55-man provisional squad for the World Cup in Qatar. It's not like Gareth didn't know who he was, so this isn't as clever a pick as you think. Look, the man is in the form of his life. This is somebody who's only scored more than 6 league goals in a season once. When he netted 9 for Manchester United in 2012, that's it. He's never netted more than 6 in any other campaign, and yet he's already on 6 after 9 games. This is mental. I fully thought this bloke was a burnt chip at Watford, a useless pasta banana sandwich at just 28. So this renaissance is mega impressive. I mean, forget about remembering to eat his Weetabix. This man looks like he just licked a Lance Armstrong flavored lollipop. He looks like someone who just made himself a smoothie from the ingredients in Paul Pogba's fridge. But England call up? No. You really think Tuchel lands the dream job of his life and then suddenly he wants to pick guys whose last England cap was before the first Venom film? No. But look, Brighton doubled the lead in 85 minutes. Evan Ferguson lashes home his first goal in nearly a year. I am so relieved this man lashed in that stunning finish. Maybe he can now get some of his confidence back. But that should have been game over. But no, Brighton sloppily deal with the corner. Ryan Nori lashes one back in, and then in the 93rd minute, Brighton win the ball back in Wolves' half, and they suddenly have a 4-on-1 situation. Lads, failing to score from that situation is criminal, but losing possession against one defender, that should be punishable by death. There is 4 Brighton attackers, all brimming with sizzling ability, against little old Tommy Doyle, someone who's not even a defender. This feels like a hardened mafia gang getting single-handedly beaten up by a little old lady whilst trying to steal her purse. For Wiefer to pass the ball straight to Doyle, who passes it to Matheus Cunha to bang in a last-minute equaliser for Wolves. I don't even want to imagine what that man must be feeling. Lads, I have messed up in the last minute of football matches that I have played at my squirmy dog food level. There's no worse feeling than knowing you've cost your teammates after a stupid mistake. Lads, I don't think a Premier League footballer would have felt worse immediately after a last-minute gaffe since Ademola Lookman's stupid Chip Panenka penalty for Fulham against West Ham in 2020. This was as bad as that. Aston Villa 1, Bournemouth 1. So everyone would have naturally assumed that Aston Villa, Champions League Aston Villa, would easily dispatch Bournemouth at home, right? Play the clip.
Right, I actually think that Bournemouth will leave Villa Park with a result. Let's play it safe and say Clivert. Before, super sub John Duran saves the day with a really late equaliser.
Yeah, do you know what's really freaky? Play my prediction for the previous Aston Villa match against Fulham.
Well, look, I know Fulham have had a great start to the season, but I can smell a huge Villa win here. 3-1 win.
Okay, this is getting weird now. Lads, recently, I seem to be getting all things Villa bang on. At this rate, I can probably predict what Emery's going to have for his breakfast. A cup of human blood. And look, this was close. Ross Barkley scrambles in a 76th minute opener in what is one of the ugliest, scruffiest goals this former Luton man has ever scored. I mean, whenever I see Barkley doing anything these days, it just makes me sad because 5 years ago, the man was joining Chelsea and outlining his ambition to become world class. World class? Nah, this is just a bit sad. His grandchildren are gonna find those headlines and laugh at him when he's an old man knitting jumpers on the porch. But look, still, Evan Nielsen's smart last-minute header equalizer. Oh, brilliant. Antonio Uriel has created such a quality cherry side. They are a nightmare for every team in the league. I've taken 4 points from Arsenal and Aston Villa inside a week, outsmarting his fellow Spanish coaches Arteta and Emery. Sorry, lads, but put some huge respect in his name. Everton 1, Fulham 1. Lads, I am spooked. Play the clip.
Most people would probably plump for a 0-0 draw, but I'm going to go for a 3-3. I don't know why, but I just think this will explode into goals, strikes from Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison, Raul Jimenez with 2, Harry Wilson, and a last-minute scrambled equaliser from Beto. What a plot twist.
Okay, ignore the fact that I said this would be a crazy 3-3 draw. Instead, it was a tense, sluggish bore fest, which just makes me ask the question, who on earth thought it'd be wise to sanction Everton versus Fulham as the 5:30 kickoff on Sky Sports? What sort of earwig in the Sky production team thought this was going to be a match worthy of the late slot? I can't fathom it. It makes about as much sense as the Saturday night movie on ITV being, the Human Centipede 2. I don't think anyone is going to want to watch that with their grand. Lads, in the last 7 meetings between Everton and Fulham, there's only been one occasion where the fans have been able to witness more than 2 goals. But what really spooked me is that I am the only person on planet Earth who predicted that Beto would score a last-minute equalizer. I'm confident there's nearly 9 billion people on this Earth, and I am the only one in the galaxy to think that this would happen. I mean, this Portuguese lump had not scored a goal of any description since March. He'd only scored 1 goal at Goodison Park since last December, where he really scrambled an equaliser against Fulham in the League Cup. Come on, I feel like I've just witnessed something extraordinary. I mean, there was probably more chance of seeing a mermaid eating a walrus on the pitch at halftime than there was of witnessing this monumental goal. I'm incredibly proud that this Guinea-Bissau international striker did exactly what I said he would. Thanks, Beto! Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 0. Crystal Palace have finally won a match. And how relieved must Oliver Glasner be? Because he was getting close to embarrassingly losing his job even after that amazing spring form. When he saw Tottenham name 17-year-old Mikey Moore on their team sheet, he must have thought that Ange was showboating. Like, it was such major disrespect that Palace are now such a soft touch that teams now think they could beat them by picking actual children on the pitch. I mean, Mikey Moore is probably going out trick-or-treating this week. He's probably got himself a scream mask knitted by his mum. I mean, this is somebody who'll be devastated on Thursday night when his mean old neighbor holds back on the Toblerones. I mean, come on, his name is Mikey. Mikey! Anyone who calls themselves Mikey definitely wears Monsters Inc. pajamas. Anyone who chooses to call themselves Mikey is 9 years old. Mikey! This kid is young. I mean, lads, I remember when I was a teenager, I remember thinking it was mad when there were a couple of Premier League players who were now younger than me. I found that surreal. Yeah, we're at a stage now where I literally remember exactly what I was doing when Mikey Moore was born. August 2007. I have vivid memories of that month. I can remember the exact Hannah Montana episode that was on TV. What? I only had 4 channels and one of them was in Irish. I wasn't exactly spoiled for choice. Well, lads, see Spurs omit an actual Brazil international, Neymar's friend, in favor of placing faith in this child. Someone who probably still needs to declare tooth fairy money to the tax man. Yeah, Glasner will not have appreciated that one little bit. And to be fair, the risk did not play off for Spurs. Jean Mateta 1-0, Chelsea 2, Newcastle 1. Newcastle fans, calm down, relax. People are freaking out online, alarmed by Newcastle's form. I'm sorry. If any Newcastle fan is shocked to be losing at Stamford Bridge, then you don't know Newcastle. The Magpies have 1 Premier League win at this ground. Whatever. And that was only when they caught Chelsea snoozing as they had one eye on a Champions League final that month. So to narrowly lose 2-1 to this talented Chelsea team after being bossed by a ridiculously in-form and possibly world-class Cole Palmer, there is no shame in this result. Newcastle fans are screaming that a few terrible transfer windows have resulted in a pretty terrible team. Sorry, a terrible team. Really? Lads, this was the Newcastle side that began the 21-22 season. Freddie Woodman in goal. A back 5 of Murphy, Kraft, Fernandez, Clark and Ritchie. A midfield trio of Hayden, Shelby and Almiron. With admittedly a talented strike force in Callum Wilson and Alan Saint-Maximin. Yeah, those two are good, but everything else on that pitch, largely horrific. Newcastle fans know what it's like to lose hope in the team because that era under Steve Bruce was the bleakest it has ever been because there is no way out. But this weekend, players like Tonali, Bruno, Isak, even Livramento and Barnes, they were unattainable dream buys in 2021. So everyone, Just relax. A large portion of supporters are now wanting Eddie Howe sacked. I mean, just check the comments on every Newcastle fan channel. I'm sorry, that's laughable. Are we forgetting that this man had Newcastle in the Champions League as recently as last year, where they nearly got out of the group of death? Yeah, that whole thing wasn't a fever dream. You didn't just ingest some dodgy Indian food and then hallucinate on the couch. Imagine thinking after smashing PSG just a few months after the Magpies played in an actual cup final, that a year later a huge chunk of the fan base would be wanting the man binned. I actually think that is a disgrace. People seem to be screaming for Erden Turchik to get the job. And sure, this guy is out of work, but I think people are massively letting his Champions League final appearance at Borussia Dortmund sort of overshadow the fact that he was sacked for a reason. Dortmund finished 5th in the Bundesliga. That was their lowest finish since Klopp's meltdown final year in 2015. And if you ignore that freakish fluke season of 2015, which you should, then Turchik actually guided Dortmund to their lowest league finish since 2010. Is he really an obvious upgrade on Howe? Taking Dortmund to a Champions League final is good, obviously. But lads, Erik Ten Hag was seconds away from taking Ajax to a Champions League final. And right now, Manchester United fans would probably eat their own toes to get him sacked. I mean, lads, the current boss of Zambia has managed in a Champions League final. It's not that huge an achievement. Turchik is still a very inexperienced coach, much more so than Howe. First of all, this is when he used to make the bacon sandwiches and tea at West Ham. Yes, Newcastle have been suffocated by PSR and FFP in transfer windows lately. Eddie Howe is operating with one hand behind his back. He is technically on paper working for the richest club in the world, but he's actually working in Mike Ashley conditions, where it was just mostly sell, and sign players on the cheap. I mean, it wasn't long ago that those fans were told to get excited about loaning in a chunky Danny Rose. They were being told to celebrate the return of Andy Carroll. Those were bleak, dreadful times to support Newcastle United. This isn't bleak. It's just poor form. This is a quality starting 11 with no squad depth. But that's not to blame on Howe. It is due to the suffocating rules. And yeah, the transfer recruitment team also failed him in the summer. Lay all this blame on the guy who's literally saved his club from actual relegation after everyone had ridden them off and took them into the actual Champions League and to a cup final. I think people calling for his job is really sad. Leicester City 1, Nottingham Forest 3. How does he keep doing this?
I can't believe he's done it again! Why has he done it again?
Lads, Jamie Vardy turns 38 in January. 38? How is he still doing this? Don't tell me it's because of his elite professionalism and spectacular diet. What, the guy whose pre-match meal has been Red Bull and vodka Skittles? Vardy's pre-match meal is the same thing you would order in a Magaluf nightclub. I'm convinced that if you open this man's fridge, you'd probably find a lunchbox containing the leftovers of a Chinese he'd eaten on the toilet. There's only one six-pack in his house, and that's the beer he nicked from his mum. Look, Forest have been the surprise package of the season so far. Most people were certain this team would go down after a rubbish year last time out. But honestly, put some respect on Nuno Santo's name. West Ham 2, Man United 1. 3 words. Never a penalty. Look, Manchester United have lost another Premier League match, but they shouldn't have. It's a disgrace, an actual disgrace. Look, this game was petering out to be a decent 1-1 draw for Manchester United after Casemiro's header had cancelled Crescencio Somerville's opening strike. But for a penalty to then be awarded in the final minute against Mathis Delight. For what? For sniffing Danny Ings' hair? What was he supposed to have done? I have looked at the replays, and I'm not sure what the officials saw. I'm drawing a blank. I don't have a clue. It's ridiculous. This is like when you see your classmate get unfairly punished by the crazy French teacher. Someone who gets given an hour's worth of detention because... what? He came to school wearing a hat because he forgot to put his yogurt in the bin after lunch? It's baffling, and I have no idea how Ings won that penalty. There was a slide coming together in the box, yes, but if anything, it was Ings falling into Delit. I mean, this is like when that old cranky woman bumps into your trolley whilst you're innocently scanning the vegetable aisle, and then she demands an apology from you? I was standing there eyeing up the cauliflower, you dozy old bint. You hurled into me. So no, this isn't even an occasion where rival fans feel good about laughing at Man United this week. I think the rival fans feel dirty celebrating this win because they know this is just down to awful officiating. This should not have been a Hammers win. This decision is a complete and utter joke, a disgrace. How was that given? Just how? Referees must really hate VAR because originally the ref David Coote did not give the penalty, but then Michael Oliver of VAR tells him in his ear,
"Oh, are you sure? Maybe just go look at the monitor."
The whole thing seems so patronizing. You're basically undermining your own ref, saying to him,
Really? Really? You really think you got that one right? No, I'm gonna make you stand in front of 60,000 people to have another go with it.
It must be so degrading. It feels like your teacher making you stand up in front of the whole school as she makes you correct your homework in front of 1,000 people. It just feels mean, and Coote should have told Oliver, Shut up. Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, Manchester United do have themselves to blame after they missed a host of easy chances in the first half, and they were bad misses. They were really bad misses. The only thing worse than those misses is Jamie Vardy's misses. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1. Okay, look, I predicted 4-4 in this crunch. Huge, epic Sunday clash. I was wrong by one nation. Because, lads, I could sniff out an epic 4-4 in a hotly anticipated title clash on Sunday afternoon. And that did happen, but it's just, it was in Italy between Inter Milan and Juventus. I was almost onto something. Look, this was a quality back and forth match. Bukayo Saka gives Arsenal the lead after some brilliant play inside the box before Virgil van Dijk slams in a captain's header. And then Mikel Merino scores a goal before halftime to really get the stadium rocking. But then Arsenal kind of just sit back, and I think they're almost lulled into a sort of, they seem to think they had the game all wrapped up and that this was going to be another formulaic win over Liverpool at home. But no. Then Darwin Núñez squares for Mo Salah to smash home. This was a quality point for both teams, really. I mean, they're both absolute major title contenders. Neither are out of the race at all. What a ridiculous thing to say. But yeah, both sides will still be disappointed not to get the win. Brentford 4, Ipswich Town 3. Brentford are the craziest team in the Premier League. Come on, not only are they a team who managed to score in the first 100 seconds of our Premier League match 4 games on the bounce, but they've also had 5-3 and 4-3 home wins so far this season. They remind me of what Reading were in 2007. To this day, the nuttiest ever confusing team I've seen. I mean, the Royals went down that season, sure, but they were just wacky. They lost 6-4 at Tottenham and 7-4 to Portsmouth. They were relegated after a 4-0 win away from home. That is 3 Premier League matches where they scored 4 goals away from home. What? But Brentford, they've been really weird too. Man City 1, Southampton 0. Man City win again. Yawn! Anyway, that's it. What do you think? Let me know what do you think of the Premier League game week this week. Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to connect. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.